live. At least I hope we have. We are live. We've been having a couple of issues, mostly my fault. I think I forgot to pay the lab that I'm using. So now we're all here. And I've seen a couple of people who've been joining us: Marsha, Calvin, Oliver, David. Thank you so much. If you can hear us, put a little comment in the chat so I know that we are live and everything is working well. I would really appreciate that. And well, I think we should just introduce each other, right? Because I'm super lucky today. I have 5 guests. So I'm going to start with Steve, because Steve, I can see you right here. So Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, good evening. The first thing I want to say.
Can I interrupt 1 second? Is everybody hearing this music?
I hear some music. I thought someone was being very festive.
Good. Because I couldn't hear you guys; could only hear the music. So I just wanted to double check that.
I don't know who has music, but I think it's the Oscar music. It's because I'm talking way too much, so they cut me off, and now it's Steve.
Oh, usually there are birds singing when I talk. First thing I want to say is that if I look tired, I really, really am. I just got back from the Mideast yesterday, so I'm extremely jet lagged. So that's hopefully you'll forgive any mistakes I make. Anyway, I am a photographer, an OM ambassador, and I also am the proprietor of Little River Photo Workshops up here in Maine. I've been a photographer for more than 45 years, mostly working in the editorial realm for some pretty good publications: Nat Geo, World Wildlife Fund, New York Times. And I will be at 2 of our workshops, our general nature photography one, and also, and that's in August, and then in September in the macro photography workshop. At the general nature, I will be teaching about photographing birds. Here on the property, we will have 2 permanent photo blinds at bird feeding stations. And we will be working at the feeding stations and practicing some of the wonderful features that OM cameras have, like Pro Capture, and I can't think of anything else because my mind's a little mush. But
you just came back from a big trip, right?
Yes, I did. Yes.
So thank you for joining us, because you should be sleeping right now.
I should be. You're most welcome. I'm happy to be here, though. But we'll be learning like a whole barrage of things. First of all, setting up your own feeding stations so that you can photograph at home, how to make easy blinds that they don't have to be permanent, made out of wood. We'll be showing you techniques about photographing birds, both at the feeding station, and we'll talk a lot also about photographing them in the wild. And yeah, I'm really looking.
We have a little bit of surprise too, because we're planning. Is it still happening? Am I still helping you out, or are you too scared?
No, I wasn't going to say anything, but if we tell them, then we're committed.
Okay, so maybe we should tell them we're planning of building a surprise for them.
Yes, we are. Emily and I are working on a project to add to the bird feeding potential, or the bird photography potential here at Little River.
Yeah. And we could tell them it's going to be plants, water, birds, reflection. It's going to be so much fun.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And here on the property, it's 7 acres of our little nature preserve. So there are also birds that are not at the feeders. So we'll see what we can do here.
That's going to be very, very fun. I'm excited. If I have only one hand when you see me at the next workshop, that's because I work very, very hard for all of you to create that new thing with Steve. So you're just going to have to come and see. Chris, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've been up to and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Emily. So Chris McGinnis, I'm an OM system ambassador as well. I really specialize almost exclusively in macro photography of insects and spiders, any other small creatures. I had an opportunity just a couple of months ago to go with fellow OM system ambassador Lee Hoy to Panama. And while I was definitely photographing insects and spiders there, I became obsessed with the frogs and the snakes and all the other things that Panama had to offer. So really cool trip. And like Emily and Lisa and Tom and Steve on this call right now, I was part of the first annual macro and close-up photography retreat last year at Steve's at Little River. So I really like to focus on those really close-up kind of intimate shots, portraits, a lot of focus stacking, focus bracketing and stacking, focus stacking in camera and out of camera to get really high magnification, high detail images of little creatures.
And Oliver is like, Steve's property is amazing. We did have a really great time at Steve's property. Yeah. And Oliver was actually with us at the first macro retreat. So he says, they are so fun and valuable, best value on the planet. None of us are going to argue on this. Plus,
we really try to pack in as much as we can, right? And I think that we had a great first annual retreat. We're here to talk to you about some upcoming opportunities, and what we learned from that will only be expanded upon in the future offerings. So it's really exciting for us and hopefully for everyone that's going to join us.
Yes, and giveaways, because who doesn't
like
of giveaways?
Emily's spinning a wheel of goodies.
I'll be here with the wheel again. Frank, thank you so much for joining us. We're so glad that you could make it tonight. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your photography, and what you've been up to? Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, before I start, I was getting a bunch of reverb, and I continue to hear the echoing. So I'm not sure if
it's strange, because when you put this on, we had no more echoing. So it was coming from your side, but now we can't hear it anymore. But now we can hear the echo.
I am continuing to hear it, and I hear you about 4 seconds later. So anyway, I will endeavor to.
Frank, are you running the YouTube as well? Do you have the YouTube playing?
You guys hearing me okay?
No, put your cast back. You need to have that back.
I think maybe he has the YouTube running in a browser and he's hearing both.
I'm back.
Do you have YouTube running at the same time?
Let me double check. I don't think so.
Because it's true, we could hear with like a few minutes later.
That's what the problem was. Thank you. I didn't realize, because I had that open in another browser. Now I can hear you without hearing 20 of you. So apologies for that. So my name is Frank Smith, and I make mistakes about putting YouTube on apparently at the same time when I'm trying to do a stream here. So anyway, pleasure to meet most of you, or many of you. I am an outdoor photographer, landscape, nature, travel, and do a fair amount of architectural work too. So looking forward to this event. And one of the things, if you'll notice on the tagline of my emails, it says explore, capture, and create. And what I like to do is help people find things that are actually right in front of them sometimes, and they may not see it. So I'm all about creativity. And in order to accomplish that, I advocate to be curious. And by being curious leads us to explore things that we might not otherwise do. And with a focus on landscape, I'm going to endeavor to share some of those tips and tricks with everybody as we move forward with that. And I'm looking forward to seeing some new things myself in this area that Steve has so graciously agreed to help us with. And again, without getting into any of the more of the specifics, that's what I do. That's who I am, and I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting many of you.
Thank you, Frank. And we've never met in person, so I'm so excited that you are coming to Maine and to be able to meet you in person. It's those little treat. The retreat is we meeting all some of us OM system ambassadors, because I mean, I don't want to divulge all the secrets, but from time to time, all the ambassadors have meeting together. And so we've been talking to each other, but some of us haven't met in person. So it's going to be, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it and being able to photograph with you. So thank you for joining us on
I'm very
this.
much looking forward to it. And I guess I should point out, too, that I think I'm probably the longest member of the team here with the prior Olympus system. I was a visionary with him, and so been around the block with the equipment. So I'm looking forward to sharing again many of the tips and tricks that I've learned over the many years. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Tom, do you want to tell us a little bit what you've been up to and introduce yourself?
Well, welcome everybody. I'm Tom Cuchara. I'm the better half, or maybe the other half, of Lisa. I like to tease my wife a lot. And
someone is going to sleep on the couch tonight.
You know, I'm glad. I'm glad I can sleep somewhere. But Lisa and I were away last week photographing for a long time. I like to photograph birds, but if you've seen our work, we are really into anything that the OM system can offer. And between macro and the live composite, the graduated neutral density, you know, we use it all. And, you know, I love Chris's work, you know, and he's always looking for bugs, you know, to photograph like the rest of us. So, you know, if you got a favorite bug, you know, just put it in a baggie and bring it to Chris, and, you know, we'll show you how to photograph it. You know, Steve has got a wonderful way of, you know, presenting things, you know, with a lot of humor and insight and you know, environmentalism, you know, which is really great for us. And, you know, of course, you guys, you Frank and you, Emily, you got that personality, you know, and different way of looking at things, which is really important for this process. But getting back to myself, as you can tell, I don't like to talk about myself. But we've been doing, Lisa and I do a lot of live composite, and you can do it during the day and you can do it at night. And there are ways you can use it during the day, which I'll show you. You can photograph anything from, you know, tools, you know, maybe a car if the lighting is appropriate, flowers, trees, roots, and things like that, which can be a lot of fun in the middle of the day. Mushrooms, if we find any. So this is something that I will be working with people on to show you some of the techniques and another way of looking at you know, your environment, you know, without taking that straight photograph.
Thank you so much, Tom. And it's always fun because, Tom, you never know where you are. You can be crawling behind a tree. So I always love to hear people coming back from your workshop. So what did he make you do again? Because it's that, right? It's just about having fun. It's what it is about, and being able to create with the tools that we have. So I'm very excited to for the retreat that's coming up. And Lisa, do you want to actually say a little bit about yourself? I know you've been really under the weather, so thank you so much for joining us today and all the work that you've been doing to put on the big announcement that we have today. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit about yourself, and then just go ahead and make the announcement, and then we'll share some of our photo and some of the things that we'll be doing in the very near future.
So yeah, so welcome everybody, and I apologize ahead of time. I'm a little bit squeaky and a little bit froggy. Monday and Sunday and Saturday, I actually had no voice. Tom's been telling everybody that I've been giving him the silent treatment, so I apologize for being kind of squeaky. Yeah, I love the fact that I was brought to the OM system cameras because of their computational technologies. that's really the live composite. It's what brought me to the system. But now I feel like I have just a family within the ambassadors, within the workshop people that come. We become like our own community. And that wasn't something that I felt like other camera brands. So certainly it is kind of unique to be able to share this level of creativity and know that we can kind of press the shutter and have this creativity right there in camera. So we decided, Emily, you were saying like some of the ambassadors had never met. During COVID, we did like, Zoom meetings like every 3 or 4 weeks. And it was just amazing to be able to kind of get to know people. And then like when I met Eric Rock, I was like, oh, wow, like you're really tall. Like in Zoom, we don't have some of those attributes about people. We were just down in Florida and Eric walked right by me because, you're not expecting to see me in Florida. He's out west. We're up here in the Northeast. So it was kind of neat that we have this kindred spirit with everybody. Frank was mentioning his compositions. The creativity that goes into those compositions is just phenomenal. You just find like an ordinary scene, this little hut that's sitting over there, and the way the hill is going to inspire people to be able to look at composition from a new point of view is going to be phenomenal. Steve's vision with Little River, the people that haven't been there before are going to be in for a real treat when attending this, because his property is just amazing. It's just getting better and better. And now the pressure's on for this next endeavor of it as well. It's just so awesome to be able to have this level of creativity, to be able to share it. And it's one of those things like 1 + 1 becomes like 100 because of that. So we were really excited to announce our first OM System macro retreat last year. Now we have our second annual macro retreat in September. I put that link into the YouTube. But we are doing 2 more. We are doing kind of a birds, bugs, and kind of beautiful landscapes down in Virginia. So that one is going to be an immersive retreat where we're going to be doing kind of creative compositions and using some of like the live ND and the graduated ND and some of those technologies that are in there. And then we have a plethora of birds and bugs. And it is definitely got to be the jumping spider haven of the East Coast. I have never seen as many pictures of jumping spiders there. And I even put my drink in my cup today that says easily distracted by jumping spiders.
You the queen of jumping spiders. You just tame them, you talk to them, and they come up. Like I've never seen anything like this. You're not just the frog whisperer. You are You are the animal whisperer.
I don't know about other spiders because we have them in the house. I know jumping spiders respond to me very well. We've had them land on our car, and then like I drive to the hotel and like he's sitting there on the windshield, and I guess he just wanted to follow us home to be photographed. It's neat sometimes. So that one, I just put the link to that nature. It's going to be again birds, bugs, and beautiful landscapes. That one is going to be the first weekend in May in Virginia. And then I put the link for our nature retreat. And there we're going to be kind of looking at the theme of what OM is kind of embellishing. And Emily's going to give us kind of the Japanese name for this and talk about that for just a second, and then I'll bring it back. So
yes, and actually I'm going to share as I'm doing this. I'm going to share our website right here as well. And I share the link so you guys can go and click. Those free retreats are. And I'm going to pronounce the name, but everybody's going to probably laugh at me. I apologize. Let's just say that it's Chinese with some, I'll just say French infused. But what you have to do, it's all about nature photography. So no, I can't pronounce it because the stress is too big. Oh my God! And now it's not coming back to me. It is okay. Let me try. Kacho Fugetsu. Fugetsu, right? And it's basically based on like an old like Japanese philosophy that it translates into flower, bird, wind, and moon. And it's just all about self-discovery and how we connect it to nature. And as an OM System ambassador, it just fits very well to my philosophy of life and my way of photographing. And I feel like those retreats, especially the nature retreat, have that philosophy to the core. We're going to do some night photography with the moon. We're going to flowers, bird photography, flower photography. We are going to do some wind. Well, we have the live composite ICM, it's the forest, and also the bird photography with Steve and the little surprise that we're making for you. So we're very excited. We feel like those new retreats are really like a match made in heaven, because it just follows the philosophy of OM system quite well, and what I feel like a lot of us photographers are about. So I hope I didn't destroy the Japanese language. I apologize. It's a mix of Japanese and French. Here we go. So I'm going to stop sharing that, but I put the link, and I'm going to put all the individual links as well.
So somebody did ask, like, do you have to have an Olympus or OM system camera to attend? And you do not, but there are going to be some computational technologies that you will want to be able to try one of ours to be able to do it. There's just certain things like live ND, graduated ND, live composite. I guess some of the cameras now have a version of pre-capture, but there's just a lot of them. So for general composition, any camera would certainly be welcome for a lot of the general photography, but we'll have some loaners available so that you can kind of pick one up maybe during the session that would be related to one of the very specific computational technologies for you. So it's not a requirement, but it is a way of being able to explore some of these newer technologies. And overall, it's about nature and creativity. So then anybody would be welcome.
And Marsha is saying, puffins?
Tom and I have a trip to Puffins going, but that's way farther Maine than where Steve's is located. We're probably closer here in Connecticut to Steve than Steve is to the Puffins, probably.
We might see some puffins, but they will be far, far away. Maybe if we go to Portsmouth and we take the boat to an island, then we might see some, but no, puffin is unfortunately not going to be probably at the retreat. And that's not the surprise that we're building.
Yes, so and actually, by the time we have the retreat, most of the puffins would have left the nesting rocks, the nesting islands, and gone back out to sea.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why if you take a boat to the island, like in the Isle of Shows, maybe you'll be able to see a few, but it's not a good not
so
even.
We have the Mystic Aquarium near us, and the schools lead little trips there. And there was a little boy about 7 years old, and he took one of the penguins home. And he got it home, and he told his parents that like they were giving away penguins, and his parents are like, "I don't think so." He put it in his knapsack and brought it home.
True story. Only in Connecticut.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah. Free penguin. I remember that. Yeah, that was free. They were giving it away. So if you guys have any question on any of those new retreats, post them in the comment. We'll be happy to answer any of those questions. We also have the macro retreat. We still have a few places left for the macro retreat. So I'm also just putting the link right now as well in the chat if some of you are interested. But I thought for tonight, I just thought maybe we could share a couple of images that I have, and we can talk about some of the things that you learn during those retreats and learn a little bit more about our type of photography. So I'm going to share right here. So let me see if I can do that at the same time, because I've been having some issue today, but hopefully slideshow, play from the start. Here we go. I can't see you guys at all. My screen is filled with this, but hopefully it works. Chris, those are your photos. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of them?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Emily. So as I mentioned during the intro, I exclusively kind of stick with macro photography. I mean, I like all forms of photography, and I do other types of photography now and then, but macro is really where it's at for me. So the photos that are showing now are the types of photos that I hope to teach everyone that attends the macro retreats how to get. So if you've seen photos like this, whether they're mine or someone else's, they're high magnification photos, high detail photos, very small things, and maybe you're not getting the results that you hope to get. Maybe you don't understand how to approach the subjects. Maybe you don't understand what focus bracketing or focus stacking are, or you're just not able to really employ them to get the results that you hope to get. I hope to be able to show you, and I hope to be able to show you lots of techniques and explain the technology and demonstrate to you, and be really hands-on and make sure that everyone not only has a strong understanding of the technology and the approach to get images just like you're seeing here. That one, Emily, if you go back one, is a very famous grasshopper from my retreat last year at Steve's. I think most of the people who were at that retreat got a chance to photograph this very patient and cooperative grasshopper. And they got photos very similar to mine, right? Not only did I help to get photos like this, but Lisa and Tom, Steve and Eric and Emily, we were all helping to kind of mentor and coach and guide everyone along and get the settings right, get the approach right, get everyone stable, and all of the things that it takes to come together and make photos like the ones you're seeing here is what you'll learn. And not only do you learn the techniques and the technology, but there's lots of time to practice. Same thing here. This is also from Steve's, this crab spider with the fly. And when we find subjects, you've got dozens of people looking for subjects, which is great because everyone's in it together. So they find something cool and they say, oh, come over, I just shot this, or come over here and get a shot of that. And I think everyone not only walks away with a lot of knowledge and hopefully a good time and meeting new people, but a lot of skill that you can then go take home and take out into the field yourself and make photos of your own.
And Chris, are they all focus? Is it focus stacking, bracketing?
Yeah, so my session of the retreat isn't exclusively about focus bracketing and focus stacking, but it's about getting the really high magnification photos, getting those shots that are 1-to-1 magnification and beyond 1-to-1 magnification, which tend to be a little bit more challenging because now you're dealing with your camera movement is amplified because you're closer. Depth of field is really minimized. So you may want to use something like focus stacking to get more depth of field, but maybe not. And we talk about the benefits of each and how you would decide on what to do in the moment.
And this one, I mean, that's insane. This one is a bracketing.
That's a bracketing shot. Yep.
Yeah, that is insane. I can see actually your face in the eye of the.
Yep.
I mean, that is just spectacular, those images. And it's so funny because you see a lot of people who come to those workshops and they're like, I don't know how my lens work. And then all of a sudden it's kind of a discovery of, I didn't know I could do that with the 60mm macro. Or you shoot a lot with the, do you feel like you shoot exclusively with the 90 or do you still have the...
Yeah, it's almost all the 90 now. That doesn't mean that the 60 isn't a great lens or that you have to go out and buy the 90 if you want to come to one of our retreats. Yeah. But the 90 does offer some more magnification, has some more features, but the 60 is incredibly capable and you can get super sharp output with it. So either the 60 or the 90 are great for these retreats. And Emily, you mentioned something when you mentioned the reflection in the eyes. It reminded me another part of my portion of the retreats will feature flash photography. And I think that was a really nice thing. I'm not the only one that covers flash photography at the retreat. There will be other opportunities to learn about flashes. But a lot of our attendees last year had never used the flash before. And I think that flash tends to be intimidating for people. And it can be a very, very beneficial tool for macro photography, especially in the field. So this is a really good opportunity. If you're scared to use your flash or you haven't bought it yet, some people were literally taking flashes out of the box and using them for the first time, and they walked away with pretty high level of confidence by the end.
Yeah, that was impressive to see all the images that we got. And
Emily, before you move on to
I was going to
go back to the crab spider. Tom noticed something, and I'm curious about this.
Is it a mistake? Did I screw it up?
No, on the front of. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, on the top of the fly's head at the crown, it looks like a
mite.
bug.
Is there a mite there?
Oh no, that's the mouth parts of the fly. I see what you're seeing there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like there's a little mite crawling. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Now I'm gonna have a nightmare.
And what's really cool though about a shot like this or the grasshopper, when there is a subject or two subjects, I guess in this case, where several of us, the workshop leaders or the students who are attending, several people get to photograph the same scene. We get to see everyone's different results. It's not really a matter of who got the better shot. It's how did you interpret that scene and what did you get? So that's what I'll be talking about. And hopefully everyone walks away with things that they really love.
For all the retreats, we do a show and tell so that people can show those images. And then if they want to pick an image for a critique, they can. But it's meant more to be able to just see, all the pictures that everybody, the workshop participants have created during the retreat.
And SpookCap actually has a question. Lovely macro. And Chris, do you use the AK diffuser or something else? What brand?
Yeah, I use the Cygnus Tech diffuser. The Cygnus Tech diffuser and the AK diffuser are very similar styles. They're like a hood. They kind of look like the Handmaid's Tale bonnet, if you've seen Handmaid's Tale. But it's a hood that goes over your flash and has a white panel on the front. Very similar look. If you're familiar with AK, Cygnus Tech is similar. They just have a little bit different type of setup between the two of them, but same concept.
Great. And Roberto, hi Roberto, nice to see you here. He says, amazing colors. It's hard to color in. Is it hard to color in post, or did the camera basically capture most of it?
Yeah, I would say as far as color, most of that is as captured. And that's one of the things that I hope to demonstrate in the field. And again, with flash, where sometimes people aren't seeing the color or the detail that they would hope to get if they're not using flash. And the flash really opens up these opportunities to bring out color, bring out detail, and get it right in camera. And of course, you use post to enhance what you want to enhance, or push and pull where you want to push and pull. But I would say, by and large, this is the type of color that comes right out of the camera.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Great. Thank you so much, Chris. That's really cool. I can't wait for you to, and you're doing the nature retreat in May and the macro retreat in September. That's correct?
Both are macro. Or no, what's the? I'm sorry. Yeah, yes, May and September.
Nature.
Nature's May.
Nature May. Yes. Yeah. That's it. I'm sorry. I'll be doing the macro portion of the May retreat, and then September is all close up and macro, which I will also be at. So yes, May and September.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you so much. Frank, you already have a comment. Love the tree photo so much. It is a gorgeous image. I think I know where you took this. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this image and about your work?
It would be my pleasure. So this is right on the border of Louisiana and Texas, and just a magical place down there. And I was with a fellow that knew the ins and outs of this area, so he was able to get me some spots that probably are not known by too many. But timing is critical with this type of photography here. With the colors you see of the leaves, it's fall, which I think at this point down there it was November time frame when I took this. And again, part of what we're going to do, these type of opportunities can be found in your backyard, and I'm hopefully going to be having an opportunity to discover some new locations with everybody, and I will share as part of that process how I go about finding the compositions that I'm looking for. And all the while, when I am looking at this, I'm incorporating lots of elements into the thought process. And in this particular case, framing, there's a feature on the right, a feature on the left, but I want your eye to go into the center of this image and start to get a real sense and feel for where my brain was working, and also where the audience hopefully will be looking at it. Just to carefully get some foreground with the waterway that you see there, And anyway, it's part of what we'll be looking at, during the time there. And one of the presentations that I do talks a lot about discovery and being creative. And the preceding slide to this is a shot of the stack that you see at the far end of this picture here. And very common. It was on the Oregon coast. But like I said, I like to explore a little bit. And I found a grouping of rotted trees on the shoreline. And of course, with that curiosity, I peeked underneath and I was looking for my golden egg. And if you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, I saw a stone that was wedged in between the wood there. And it was like, oh my gosh, I was standing on top of this and didn't realize that. But again, had my curiosity not got the better part of me, I would have never seen this image. And so fortunate that the light was lighting it up in such a way that it gives that golden look, that golden egg look. And again, these are some of the things that I'm hoping that we'll be discovering together in the area. Here's an example too, because you heard a lot of people talking about the computational features in the cameras. And this is one that is, for the most part, unique to the OM system / Olympus. And this is live composite, daytime live composite. So I do a fair amount of this if we have right sky conditions and anything that moves that has some light to it. And in this case, I did need to bring a neutral density filter with me to slow the amount of speed on this. And this is probably about anywhere between a 5 and a 10-minute daytime exposure. This is in the Dolomites, actually. And Mother Nature just is amazing when she starts painting skies and reflections. And again, I'll be sharing some examples of this, while we're there and how we can, really capitalize on some of that part of it. But for the most part, everything that I'm going to share with you, with that exception, is that it's not necessary to have, the OM system camera. There are workarounds to that. The preceding image to this, Emily, was in Patagonia. I was so fortunate to catch a morning there that was incredibly magic. And everybody says, what did you do to post-process to get it to look like that? That is pretty much right out of the camera. And again, what I'm hopefully going to be sharing with more of you is being in a position to find these opportunities and look for these type of situations where, we don't have to do a lot of work in post. This was, I can't recall the timing on it, but one of the things I do with my landscape photography, I shoot in high res mode for the most part, and many of these are handheld, and some are with a tripod. And again, with our system, we can do a 50 megapixel handheld and an 80 megapixel on a tripod. And as I look at this thing, I'm pretty sure this one is actually the tripod where I have an 80 pixel image on this.
And that's stunning. I mean, this image makes me feel so peaceful and so
it was
gorgeous.
absolutely magical. It was absolutely magical. And it was actually, we were there photographing the stars and some of the star trails. And, I'm an advocate of not packing your gear too quick. And in this case here, I'm so thankful I didn't, because the morning light just peeked through, and it was absolutely magical. We started this hike up to this location about 2:00 in the morning, photographed until the sun came up, and then headed back. So yeah, but again, it's important to recognize the compositions of that. We'll talk about how we look for foreground elements. I'm all about layers, and just this image, for example, that's Mount Fitzroy in Patagonia. I always like to try to have layers in my imagery, and the fence was what caught my eye leading up to Mount Fitzroy there. And again, the shots sometimes that wins the prize are the ones when you get up that extra hour or stay out a little later than normal. We'll look for things like this. We'll look for layers. We'll look for those types of things, and how to deal with the lighting and so forth. We'll again, I'll spend a fair amount of time talking about opportunities like that.
And you do also a little bit of everything. You do bird photography as well, because I mean, if you have the opportunity, right?
I'm very fortunate that there's a lot of opportunities in the area, and again, we all have them. The trick is trying to find them, and of course, hitting at the right time. And this was not my first shot of these two egrets together. It took me a while to get that composition. They wouldn't listen to me when I asked them to please put their necks around each other, so I had to just wait for them to do it on their own. But yeah, I'm again. People say, "What type of photography do you do?" And I say, "Anything that's outside. That's my my love. That's my passion." And I probably lean heavier to the landscape side of it, but I do a fair amount of nature work too. This is in New Zealand, and this could be in New Jersey. When you see waves crashing like that, again, take advantage of that. We're going to be looking for hope. I'm sure there'll be some bodies of water around the area, but I live close to the Jersey Shore, and I'm always down there photographing, looking for sunrises, sunsets, and wave action, and so forth. So we'll look for some of those things. The next image.
And this could be in Maine.
Yeah, yes, you're exactly right. Yeah, you're exactly right. This is in upstate New York. Again, I'm going to hopefully show you some tips and tricks where I literally had my lens hood in the water to capture this. And it was, of course, Mother Nature was cooperative, and I wanted those reeds in the foreground. I look for opportunities like that again, but if you examine it closely, you'll see, the rule of thirds are incorporated here. You'll see the layers are incorporated here, and again, those sort of things that I'm always trying to be conscious of when I'm out and about photographing. And I don't know, is there any more? This one, Olympus just ran a campaign on that reflection. That's up in the Delaware Water Gap. So is this one, for that matter, that you have up now. But the reflection one is with the 150 to 600, where I did a video on photographing landscapes with a telephoto like that, and everybody thinks, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, again, I would challenge you with that, and we can use many of our lenses for many, with many different focal lengths to come up with different results. This again here is a high res, which also helps to smooth that water out.
That's true. A lot of people don't think of telephoto lenses for landscape, and you can get some intimate, really beautiful landscape with telephoto lenses.
It's so true, Emily, and that again, we have to break the mold of how we've been trained to look at things, and it's amazing the magic we can find. This is a super wide angle, which it was probably my 8-25, which is a 16 millimeter equivalent. I'm the guy that's always climbing down in holes looking for compositions to shoot up in the trees and things of that nature. Of course, I wanted to get the starburst and then have the center of the tree that you see there in place. And again, we'll look for opportunities like that. And so many times we walk right by these things and we don't see them because, again, our eye is not trained to look in these type of directions. And this was a fortunate morning where I had some light that was peeking through a very heavily clouded morning, and a lot of it is a little bit of luck to get Mother Nature to cooperate. But I do look for holes in the ceiling of the skies, so that I know that there's an opportunity we could take advantage of that, and that was a perfect example right there. So anyway, I'm looking forward to sharing many of those tips and tricks, and do some exploring and be curious and creative together.
Me too. I can't wait, because that's also the fun. Like, we all together, we're all getting tips, we're all looking at everybody's picture and sharing. It's the best part, I think, of those workshops. And here, when you go on workshop, very often you go with maybe one ambassador or one professional photographers, but those retreats, you get all of us. You get all the different technique, which it's just, it's a great opportunity. So thank you so much, Frank, for sharing your amazing images. Actually, we have one question. No ND, but high res with the water?
So yeah, when you're shooting high res, it's actually taking a series of images. So in that process, it helps smooth water out. And it's a tool that I continue to find more and more benefits with, and it's amazing. But I will tell you now that we have graduated ND and of course the regular NDs, I use those all the time. My bag is much lighter now that I'm not carrying all those extra filters. But again, if you're coming here and you're not using the system, if you have NDs with you, we can make it work with that. Just for me, it's just a little easier process now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's see. How about Steve? I want to share a couple of your photo on the stream. And Steve, I know I didn't even ask you, do you want photo to share? I just took some photos. So here, be surprised. Those are the photos that I want you to present today.
Okay, I'll be surprised too.
Some of them are yours.
Well, I like this photo.
Yeah,
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, this is obviously a whale. It's a humpback whale off the coast of Alaska. And yes, it was taken at sunset. And I work a lot with researchers. And one of the things that I do in my career now is that I'm affiliated with the Alaska Whale Foundation. And we were out for the day they were doing research. I was photographing the researchers and things. And that particular shot actually was on the way home. We were finished for the day. And as Frank said, be reluctant about putting away your gear just because the sun is finished or you thought you were finished. It doesn't mean something isn't going to happen. And this ends up being, one of my favorite images of a whale's tail. And I have thousands of images of whales' tails. I started my career as a whale researcher and then morphed in photography soon after that. So this is just some more work here up in Alaska. And this is a group of humpback whales bubble netting or bubble feeding, sometimes people call it, where they're cooperatively feeding. And it's one of the very, very exciting things that whales do. So it's about being prepared and being ready, which will come over to when we're photographing birds, and it's about being ready to get the image and anticipation and understanding your subject and much, much more. So, these are the kind of things we'll be working with at the Nature Photography Workshop and photographing birds. This is in Brazil on a recent shot. And this particular one is in Costa Rica or Panama. I forgot exactly. But anyway, so we'll be doing that. In the macro workshop, I talk a lot about using natural light because many of us will be covering the use of flash. So I also want to make sure people understand that you don't always have to have flash with macro photography. I do a lot of work in low light situations. As a matter of fact, one of the photo blinds is placed in a place where the light isn't so bright. And people always ask me, how come you did that? And I say, because here at Little River, it's a school. It's not just a place to make nice photos. It's a place to learn about dealing with the challenges of photography. So one of the blinds is in very nice, bright light, and one of the blinds is in more subdued light, and we're learning to work with that. I also like to talk a lot about telling stories with your images. And as Frank said, adding extra layers, extra detail. So with this image of the crimson-headed, I believe, woodpeckers in Colombia, these two woodpeckers are excavating a nest. And, so the flying pieces of sawdust there of wood chips coming out of actually the bird's mouth. He threw it out. Add extra information. It's about giving your images a broader vocabulary and making them that one photo that has 1,000 words. So, we hopefully will be learning a lot about that, about telling stories with your images, and about seeing the detail and seeing things that we often, as Frank said, again, I'm quoting you a lot, Frank, and I really just met you. But anyway, is seeing some of the details that we normally might pass by and taking advantage of that. And as Lisa says, finding the extraordinary in the ordinary things that we see every single day. So, there's a mountain gorilla with her baby. That was in New Jersey, I believe. It wasn't in New Jersey. It was in Uganda. But yes, it's noticing. Photography is often about seeing and learning what you're looking at and seeing things as your camera would, and making opportunity and taking advantage of those things. So we're going to talk a lot about that kind of thing, a lot about composition. Wildlife is unpredictable, especially birds. However, we are going to learn how to anticipate something that's kind of unanticipatable. Is that a word?
Mm-hmm. I say yes.
Okay. So yes, so we're gonna learn some techniques in the workshops, both in the nature and in the macro photography workshop. We'll have diffusers and we'll have reflectors for the macro portion of the work, the macro photography retreat. And we'll also have some tools and tricks that we can use for the birds as well.
And I like what you say about, it's we couldn't just give you the best condition ever, but that's not always the case. And there's always a photo to be made, even if maybe it's not the best lighting condition. It's all about finding your stories and knowing how to work with what you have. So that's so important. And that's what workshops should be, to train you to be able to take a photo in any type of condition, and some condition that can be challenging. So thank you for saying that. Let's look. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we'll also talk about the more emotional side of photography. Mm-hmm. I like to say the depth of feeling, and not just the depth of field.
I like that, the depth of feeling. That is very, very true. Thank you so much, Steve. I'm getting so excited. I want those nature retreat to be here right now. Lisa or Tom, which one of you want to go first?
Well, I was hoping you would go to our OM System Retreat page to Maine August one. And the last 6 images I added in there from Maine. So, and then you're going to go to register.
Okay.
The main page. And then go to the August one, that one.
That one? No, May or no, you said the August one? That's the August one. Sorry.
And then go to the images. And then there's the last 6 images in that little gallery. So there's like a little slider somewhere. Yeah, there you go. I tried to rearrange them, but the website wasn't cooperating. So just go to the last 6, just go through them all. And then we're going to go to the last 6, because I wanted to be able to show something very particular to that area up there, which is some of the beaches. So we love Footbridge Beach and Old Orchard Beach. I know that Frank is going to have a blast at Old Orchard Beach. If you haven't been there before, I know you're going to enjoy it greatly. We'll be adding some other images from everybody up. Oh, there we go. The slider. Good.
The slider would be good.
Thank you. Like we'll be here forever. So this image here is at Old Orchard Beach, and it is at high tide. So we're standing in just a little layer of water, and the reflection of the little entertainment area there is reflecting onto the beach area. So it's a really big, expansive beach. So that's just kind of a fun image that we can do. If you go back one, this is why Steve said, wow, do we really have to get up that early? Oh, the whole picture is up there. We're missing the top of it. I don't know why. There is a big sun. That's really weird. Getting up early in the morning to be able to get that sun peeking through. I don't know where the top of it
is. How about that's the sun right here?
Yep, that's the sun, but it's I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can I share my screen?
It reframe.
It's
You
weird.
should be able to share your screen.
I don't want to complicate it. That's okay. There is a really big sun that's there. I'm not sure why the website is cropping it.
Lisa's telling the truth.
You'll have to share it on your Instagram account tomorrow,
okay,
so we can believe.
Yeah, it would be a good picture actually to show. There is again so this is probably about 4:50 a.m. On a really long day. So for some of this, we will be doing some early morning things to be able to get that light coming in. And if you go back one more, as the light then starts to be able to come up, doing some of those long exposures. And again, now the water's coming in. You would just see sand if you were standing there, or if you took one solid picture, you would just see sand. But because that water is continuing to go in and out, it's capturing that reflection of the pier that's there. So just really neat. And then we will have a couple of optional things in the evening. If you go back one more, we're not that far from Nubble, so that's a possibility. There's a lot of other things that are around Steve's area as well. So we have for the evenings, kind of weather depending, we might do either some star trails or go out to the lighthouse or go back to Steve's and be there at night with our flashes. We might do some star trails. So we didn't put that in as the main thing. That's going to be kind of an optional bonus session, kind of depending on people's energy levels and the weather, seeing what that's going to be. But we're mainly going to be concentrating that August retreat around that really spectacular early morning light, that really spectacular evening light. So we're going to be concentrating on there versus the macro run, where we kind of had a little bit of a later start and a later end, or earlier end to the day there. So you'll see some differences in there.
And one big, go ahead.
So one day we were at.
Wait a minute, let me set the stage. If you are going to sign up, make sure, and if you're still working, make sure that you have appropriately requested vacation or PL time. Don't call in sick. Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
So Tom and I are there. It's again like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. There's me, Tom, one guy that's like collecting stuff through a metal detector. And then we see a guy come in with a drone. So he's flying the drone, really like, one of those annoying buzzing drones that was just kind of obnoxious. And he's like hovering right over me and then hovering over Tom. And I'm like, this is, really obnoxious. So I get home, and 2 days later, somebody tags me and they're like, oh, I see you at Old Orchard Beach. And Tom's like, that's not you. And I'm like, yeah, it is. There's my backpack. There's my shirt. And I'm like, look, if you look on the other side of the pier, that's you. So we ended up going all over the place from the pictures that he posted of us unbeknownstly at this pier here. So yes, Big Brother in one form or another is always watching us.
And it's pretty funny. We can provide maybe some hat or something for people to hide. That's one thing. But that we do provide is we'll have loaners, because some people are saying, well, what if I don't have a OM system camera? Well, first of all, everybody is welcome. So come on in. Doesn't matter what type of cameras. We all do different workshops where we have clients or friends who use different cameras. So that's totally no problem at all. But also one thing is we will have loaners. So if you're thinking of, maybe I want to switch to OM system, then this is the right time. Come and test those cameras first before you make the switch. You can do that during our retreats. And also if you're thinking of, maybe you are OM system photographers, but you're thinking of maybe buying a new lens, we'll probably have it. Or if you request it, because we have a little survey, then maybe we can make sure that we'll have it as a loaner so you can try it and test it during the workshop with us. So that's one of the big perks, because I know that some people are having a hard time. Well, I don't know which lens I want to use. Well, here you go. Test them. We have them. And then you can decide which one is best for you. Or maybe all of them will be here, the best one for you.
I'll add one more scenario in there too. So Tom and I also do workshops, and we have people come with all different cameras. And you don't necessarily have to be in the market to want to switch. There's different tools, just as if you have a woodworking shop, you don't just have one hammer, you have lots of tools. And my father had 12 sanders, each one with a different grade of sandpaper on it. So we've had people come with like the Fuji medium format camera, and that's the camera that they use for their landscape. Then they come with us and realize, oh, I can't do live composite with it. So they've added it as a tool, and there are people in the world that have more than one system. So it doesn't always have to be that you want to switch systems. It could be that you want another tool to be able to do something like live ND or live composite or something like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be for people that are interested in switching, people that are interested in technologies that are up and coming and pretty neat.
That is very true. So if we have any questions in the chat, just keep them coming. Anything about the workshop as well. At the end of this live, I will also put the links to all those workshops live, because we just opened them. So you'll be able to register directly. But if you have any questions, just ask us now. This is the right time.
There was a question about a list of hotels, and that is on the sheets. So if you go to any of the pages, it actually does have a link to the area hotels. I know that Steve is looking into seeing. There's one it's actually in New Hampshire, but it's really close. And he was looking to see like maybe they might be willing to like provide like like a central place rather than just people being able to choose. So that's a possibility. We also had a hotel reach out to us and say that they would be willing to kind of offer something. So we might list those with asterisks if something works out with them. But there's a list of, some people wanted B&B, some people wanted campgrounds, lots of motels and hotels. So that list is up there, Deb.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Deb, by the way. And I think I sent you a couple of email options as well. But yeah, as Lisa said, we'll definitely provide you with options. And then we also have, once you register, we add you to our own private Facebook group. So you also be able to talk to participants from the previous year who will also be able to give you their recommendation, what they like to see, what they like to do, so where they like to stay. So definitely that will also be another place for you to ask any questions before those retreats, because we'll be monitoring the Facebook as well. So that's another perk. And then you get in touch, you stay in touch with all the friends that you met during the retreat. I think that's one of my favorite parts, is just meeting everybody and just, keeping that group going. It's just been so fun. So I'm excited to see old friends and meet new friends for the retreat. Let me see if we have more. Oliver, it's wonderful arrangement. Oh yeah, lots to do between the workshop hours if you have the stamina. It's true, if you have the stamina is important, because we have a great plan. And what I want to say is that you have us you'll switch from one person to another. So you'll do different type of workshops, but in between, when it's time to do lunch or breakfast in some circumstances for the nature workshop, we here, we eating with you, we answering questions. You still can go and take some photos on the property and ask us anything. It's not like your 3 hours are done, the workshop is over. We really don't keep a clock. It's that camaraderie that is so important. And actually this year, Tom, you're the one who decided that we're going to have some breakfast, but it's going to call CCC. It's coffee, camera, and camaraderie.
Yeah, 3 C's.
I like that. It's not a comedian with cars and coffees, but it's going to be photographers with cameras, coffees, and so it's going to be very fun.
Maybe we'll throw in a few bugs.
Not in my coffee.
Chocolate covered ants.
Oh, Roberto, so when is the Australian retreat? We wish.
Oh, that'd be great. Do you have a hotel for us? Can you fit 40 people?
And the
Oh, that would be wonderful with the flowers. Ooh, windmills. Ooh.
well,
Maybe we
right
can arrange
now, we are expanded. So we started with the macro retreat. Now we heard you guys because a lot of you were saying we want to do bird, we want to do landscape, we want to look at the computational features of our cameras. That's why we're doing those nature retreat. But who knows? If it's very popular and if there is an audience who would love to, why not going abroad? That's not a bad idea. Uh, Paris, I know. We need to do one in France as well. That would be really, really fun. Maybe
Oh,
Burgundy.
be in Paris. Ooh.
Do they have birds in Paris? Pigeons and house macros.
And they have little parakeets that escaped, and now they're all in Paris. It's quite
Oh.
fun. There are some good birds in my area. There are some pretty good birds, so we should definitely plan that. But for now, I think we need to first concentrate on those nature retreats. If they're working very well, then hopefully we can expand. And why not, go abroad? That's something that I think a lot of us would be interested in. So just keep us posted. If you have your own group and you're like, I have 10 people, we all want an OM system retreat, you let us know. We'll come to you. Excellent. And I'm just looking, I don't see any more questions about the retreat, but I think the website is pretty straightforward. You have a good idea of what you're signing up for. And again, if you guys have any question, you can ask any of us. We'll be very, very happy to answer any questions that you have. We sure hope that we'll see some of you at the retreat. We'll see some of you back at those new retreats as well. We've been working quite hard on those. We're very excited to finally have them out. Thank you so much for everybody who joined. Thank you for those of you who are joining later, because I know that some of you could not make it tonight. So anybody have a last word of goodbye?
The only thing I have is that we do have, for people that are here today, and we'll spread the word through our social media, for the first 2 weeks, there is a early bird special price. So if you're thinking about it, jump on it and be able to get in it right away before you miss out on that.
And don't wait, because the first macro retreat, people were like, oh, I'm going to wait a little bit. And then the special was out and the place was filled and there was unfortunately no more spots. We do have a waiting list, but if you really want to come, don't wait too long. Then that would be my recommendation, especially for your retreat, Lisa, the first one in May, you're taking less people. Is that correct?
That is correct. So yes. Yep. So it'll fill up quicker because there's less total. Yep.
Yeah, Emily, I just wanted to add one thing. I don't think anybody mentioned during tonight's live is just kind of the structure of how the retreats work each day. So, for instance, the macro retreat in September, right? So there's 6 instructors: Lisa, Tom, Emily, Eric, Steve, and myself. And each of us do the same session over and over throughout the retreat, but we break you up into groups and we try to put people by skill and experience level, and we rotate those groups through the 6 instructors throughout the period of the retreat. So the retreat's 3 days, we do 2 sessions per day. But each of us focuses on a different area. So we talked about kind of what we focus on here tonight, but you'll have an opportunity to fully immerse yourself in that subtopic of the retreat for 2-3 hours, whatever the session is. Then you get a little break, you move on to the next instructor, you get to immerse yourself in that. So you get exposed to a lot of different things and a lot of expertise. And a lot of us say similar things to you throughout the retreat. Some of us say contradictory things, but you're learning like more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. And certain things will resonate with you differently, or you'll latch on to certain things, or you'll be exposed to something new. So a lot of opportunity to really dig into a lot of different things while you're there.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's what I like a lot, because you'll see that there are different techniques, and it's a question of learning those different techniques and knowing which one you prefer, which one is the best. And maybe in different circumstances, you'll use one technique or the other. We all shoot differently. We all look at things a little bit differently, right? We're humans. So, yeah, that's what I like about those workshops. I've been on a workshop where this is how it is, this is and that's just not how you learn. It's like, this is what I use, and you can use it as well, and go and look at what other ambassadors are doing. I think that's more beneficial for everybody.
And because there's several ambassadors there, I feel like virtually any question that the attendees have, we will find an answer. And that doesn't mean that I know all the answers, or at least knows all the answers, or whatever. But I know that I had students in my session, and they would ask me something, and a lot of times I could answer, but sometimes I would say, I don't know, but Lisa will know, or I don't know,
Yeah.
but let me go ask Steve. And we have one another to lean on, and I feel like it's a really unique offering for this type of setup versus some other workshops, especially if you're going to workshops where it's not an OM leader. And I know a lot of you have had that experience where you say, hey, I have a question about my camera, and the workshop instructor says, sorry, I've never used that camera before. I don't understand.
Yeah, that's not going to happen here.
That's not going to happen here.
Another way to look at it too is be prepared to switch gears, because when you work with Chris and Lisa, they're doing similar things. But then I found that when people came to do light painting, it was a total different mindset, and it was good to get in and out of your menu system. And then if you want to do landscape with Frank, you're going to use the graduated neutral density filter, the high res, and he's going to show you different things, but you're going to get in and out of your menu system, which is going to help your overall photographic experience. And that will also free you up to be more creative, to think about what Steve talks about. How do you look at your subject, and how do you create something that is artistic in the way you like, as opposed to worrying more about the technology and understanding it without, overexposing your subject. So there's going to be a lot of benefit to that. And the advice I can say is, don't necessarily look for a perfect picture that you're going to get if you're a camera club person, but look how to use the technology to get that person when you leave. If you get lucky to get that great picture, great. But, when you leave, you'll be in a better position when you go on those great vacations.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if you guys know, but actually we had one participant who submitted one of her photo to NACCC, and she won second place.
Whoa.
During our night photography. So that was really fun. Yeah, there's been some really amazing photos being taken. So yeah, it's great to see them, because I knew this photo. I'm looking at the list, and I'm like, I know this photo. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Jen's photo. So yeah, it's fun. You can actually at workshop make some pretty good photos as well if you're looking into competition. So
Oh, and one other thing, if I can just take a minute, with the nature photography workshop in August, we've planned it so that we work early in the day, and then you have a gap in the middle of the day during the the time when it's going to be most hot or whatever. So there's this gap in between, and I'm kind of looking forward to those gap periods, partially because it's great when the student has a chance to go out on their own on the property, and maybe you want to spend more time in the bird blind, or maybe you want to go down to the river or to the waterfall, or in the forest to work on something that you've just learned. And then if you find that you have a little block someplace, something that needs to be overcome, you can come back and ask the instructor again. It's not like, oh, I had that class, then I'm gone and I'm home. excuse me, we're going to be there. So you can go out and you can play and you can practice and you can make mistakes and you can go back and fix them.
That's very true. You know what we should do? I'm going to invite some people on my channel that were at the OM System retreat or that will be at the OM System retreat. So then we can showcase some of their work. So if some of you were at the macro retreat, you should come, just send me a message because you all have my email and my phone number. So just text me, and I would love to have you and showcase some of the photos that you took during the retreat, and then how you progress and how it helps you photograph or see differently. So I think that would be a cool thing maybe to organize in the next couple of months. And for those of you who are signing up for the May retreat, then yeah, just keep me posted. Maybe we can do something later on, etc. I think that would be fun because I'd love to showcase some of the amazing images and photographers that we were lucky to have during our retreat. So
that's a great idea. Could you also put the link to the little video that you made in the YouTube later too? Because I think that would be nice for people to be able to see as well.
I did add it, Lisa. It's in there.
Oh, you did? Oh, thank you. I didn't see it. Thanks.
Yep, it's there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a little testimonial reel from some of the students last year, which was really great. You know, we didn't plan on shooting that, and we started hearing a lot of positive testimony, and we said, hey, would you mind saying that on camera? That would be really great to capture. And then we got kind of a line of people, and we put together a nice reel.
Yeah, that's true. Don't believe us. Believe the people who came to our retreat. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I know I said this live would only be an hour, but I feel like we're already an hour, 60 minutes. I want to be mindful of everybody's time. I really, really appreciate that you guys took the time to come to the channel. I know that all of you are very busy, even sick, and you're still showing up. So I really appreciate that. And I can't wait to see you very, very soon for the retreats. And we'll be on YouTube. We'll be monitoring the comments. So anything, just post them there. We'll be happy to answer them. And we sure hope that we'll see you very soon in one of our retreats. And thank you again, everybody. And see you very soon. Bye, everybody.